Hello, and thank you for joining us. I am Cedric Bailey, and I so have with me today the head coach of the Murray State Aggies, Coach Steve Lowe. First of all, Coach, congratulations on winning the Region 2 championship.
Thank you. It was definitely a heck of a ride to be picked first at the beginning of the year, and then to accomplish that feat by winning the regular season title and the Region 2 title is pretty special.
How was it?
You know,
How was it? Because you were in Muskogee this time, and last year you were in Shawnee. So how was it?
yeah, I mean the Muskogee, the new high school there is absolutely gorgeous. The atmosphere was good. We had good crowds. I thought all 3 days, you could feel the energy in the building. Yeah, I was very impressed, and they did a really good job. So, and as far as I know, everything went well behind the scenes, and yeah, we're looking forward to going back there again next year. I think we were treated well, and they did a really good job.
But you know what was so special is because I'm going to slide over here because the redhead, Reese
Yep,
Webb, that's her home territory.
it is right in her backyard. She had family there. I know Paige had family there. Chris did. Huge. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody had family there, probably. But the internationals, and then we even had a former player. She and her family were there, and it's special when you get to that time of year, because we don't get to see all the families throughout the year, just because of whatever else is happening and lives. But tournaments and stuff like that bring everybody together, and then to win it's even better in the end.
Yes. Now let's walk through this tournament that took place because the only team that beat you in conference would have been Seminole, but they got eliminated.
Yes, sir.
By Eastern. So you took on Redlands College first, the Cougars, I believe, and that was your third time. Talk about what they did to you guys and how was it to beat them?
Yeah, the first game, it's funny. This is obviously this is our fourth year going to the tournament, third year winning it. And the 3 years that we've won it, I feel like the first game has always been kind of trying to fit a round peg into a square hole, where we just kind of were off rhythm a little bit. We had 10 days off in between games. I thought we played like that a little bit. First half was kind of a little bit rough. Second half, we got rolling and ended up winning by 20 something, I think in the end. And, defensively, we were locked in and played, really well defensively against them. And I don't know, I can't remember the scores. This is where I'm bad sometimes, but, I know we were up almost 30 at one point and ended up winning by 20 plus. So, nice opening round game, kind of get your feet wet, kind of get the cobwebs out, and then you kind of get rolling after that.
Gotcha. So then afterwards you had to take on Eastern, and I remember when we played them at home, their coach didn't make it to the game that time. The assistant stepped in, but yes, the coach was there this time. And man, I looked at the game, I said, man, they tried to match y'all just like you do everybody else. They came out with a full court press on you guys right then.
Yeah, they got after us. And, it's funny, a backstory too, one of their best players, Fisher, didn't play against us in both games for whatever reasons. And so, and she brought a different dynamic to their team. Quick, tough guard, can get downhill. And so I think she went to the line 16 times in our game in the semifinals. And, we've done a good job, with Eastern, and I thought our kids did a good job attacking and getting into the lane, and we ended up scoring 84 points. And, we handled our press pretty good. I think we maybe turned it over a few times, but for the most part, we handled it pretty well. And honestly, besides Fisher getting all those fouls, and getting to the free throw line, I thought we were pretty good defensively too. I mean, we held them to 60 points, and I'm pleased with that effort. And his teams are disciplined and they play really hard. Just unfortunately for them this year, they didn't shoot it as well as I know he would have liked. And that kind of helped, play into our hands a little bit where we can kind of clog the lanes a little bit more. And then, Reese had 19 that night. She played really well. We're such an evenly balanced team scoring wise. You just don't know what you're going to get, one night to the next with our team.
Yes. Well, let me just say that for you guys to beat them there in Wilburton, and I remember that was a tough win. They tried to come back on you, but you fought them off. But then at a neutral site to beat them, it was like the conditioning and everything. And that's one thing about it, because you're playing back to back to back compared to playing on a Monday or a Tuesday and then come back on a Friday. So it was 3 games in a row, Coach.
Yes. And I think you're going to, when we talk about game 3, I think you'll see that, and talk about that.
Yeah. So speaking of game 3, the championship, you're going up against the Jets, and they got the guard Hazelbaker and the other kid Johnson. And I thought personally, y'all was going to play Connors. Did you feel that way? Because
no, and this is why I have a ton of respect for Kelly and her program. I know Connors played well the first night. Just the discipline, the toughness that Enid plays with. They got 4 good guards, really, and that can just do a lot of things. They honestly are very similar to us, scrappy, competitive, hardworking kids. And, we beat them by 11 at their place. And if you go back and you look at our game at home, I know we won by 25, but we were up 38-31 throughout the, midway, late third quarter. And we just kind of chipped away and just kind of, we ended up beating them pretty good. But I don't know, there's something with Kelly that, she just does a good job with her team. They gave us issues. I didn't think we handled their collapsing defense very well until honestly late in the game, where Jade hit a couple threes, Maddie hit a 3. They were just, anytime we drove, they collapsed, and we really didn't pick up on that. And we talked about it at halftime, but we really didn't make those adjustments until I think later in the game.
It's amazing that you talked about those threes, because you're absolutely right. In the fourth quarter, Coach Lowe, that's when I looked and I said, oh man, look at Maddie, look at Jade. Reese takes over. But in your first game, going back to the Redlands, you couldn't hit a 3 in that game. It was like, it was 0 for 20, because I was talking to Coach Manley's husband. We were texting. I said, man, they can't find a 3,
Yep.
But I guess they were saving them for the fourth quarter in the championship.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I actually said I'm glad it was the first game that we couldn't make a shot, because we pretty much had control of it. I go, we got to save those for our second and third games. But no, and the one thing, I'm not gonna lie, like, I think when you're picked, when your expectations are to win it, this year was different for me as a coach, just feeling a little bit of added pressure. The first year we finished 4th. It was just my first year, going to go into a tournament and let's just see what happens. Last year, we tied for 1st, and there was really no added pressure. We just kind of went out and we balled, and we just were really, we scored it so well last year. This year's team is all about, defense, even scoring. Reese had 19 in the semifinals. Jade and Maddie had 14, I think, in the final. I think we had 4 kids in double figures in the finals. We had 5 kids in double figures in the semifinals. And so this year was just different. But I think just the expectation on and a little bit of chip on her shoulder for, you know, the awards for the conference. You know, this team's pretty special, and to not have a kid on first team, you know, is really kind of a slap in our face, and they felt it. You know, when those awards came out, they kind of looked at that like, wait, what? You know, and we ultimately got the best awards. We got the trophy awards for finishing regular season and the conference tournament. And you know, I wish we'd put more value on winning than how much you score in
Yeah.
our league.
Well,
Because I think
19,
that goes
19
to
is the
show.
number. 19
Yeah.
is the number for you because you had 19 wins in a row.
Yes, sir.
You were picked number 19 in the 19th spot,
Yeah, right.
you know, and then also there's another number. On the last game of the season, we didn't realize, I was talking to Coach Whaley, you had your 100th win. Let's talk about that. What does that mean?
Oh, that's, you know what, that's a cool stat, but we all know, you know, that's a product of having really good players on your team, really good coaches. You know, sometimes you just got to get out of the way as a coach and let your kids go out and do the work. And so that's just a product of 5 good years with 5 good teams. And, you know, that's really what that is. I mean, it's cool, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, a lot of people are involved in those wins throughout those 5 years as being a head coach. And, you know, I thank them, you know, a ton. And I talked to these 4 after the game, but, you know, Maddie Busby, Laney Gooch, Reese Webb, and Brianna Kanabe, you know, I pulled them aside and I just said, listen, and I know we're a team, but those 4 are really our backbone, you know, of our team. They they've been through it last year. They know expectations. They know the standards, you know, of our program. I mean, if you think about it, Cedric, these are going to be crazy stats. Those 4 sophomores are 35-3 in 2 years against Region 2 opponents. They have an average margin of victory of over 20 points a game. They never lost a home conference basketball game. They won a Region 2 regular season, 2 Region 2 regular season titles, and 2 conference tournament titles. Like, I'm lucky, you know, we're lucky as coaches that they were a part of our program to help us have that success. And they're 53-12 in 2 years overall. And went to the national tournament. We'll finish ranked in the top 25 2 years in a row. Like that's a pretty special group right there.
You're right, Coach. And I was sitting here thinking, I said, I hope the president, Dr. Fulton or somebody, I don't know who makes the powers be there, but I would love to come into, of course, Beans Fieldhouse next year and see this team's picture on the wall somewhere in
Yeah.
facility. So we'll be praying that something will come up and that we'll be able to walk down that hallway when I'm over there getting some of my nachos at your wife and daughter over there and look up and say, I remember that team and
Yes.
that we had there at Beans Fieldhouse, you know.
And that's not taken away from anybody else on the team, but just, you know, because you need other players on the team, you know, Peyton and Jade and Chris and Belle and Remy and, you know, all of them, Paige, you need all of them to make a team. But I think you have to have that strong core that can just pull you through just adversity and just those tough times. And those kids just definitely know, they just know how to win. You know, there's no coaching in that, you know, there's no coaching in Maddie D'ing up the girl and, you know, Zen from Enid getting a turnover for us. There's no, you know, Gooch getting out of the passing lane and getting a tip steal to where it gives us the ball. You know, Maddie getting that 1 second shot off or making the 3. Like, that's not coaching. That's just those kids wanting it bad. That's what that's about.
Does Laney have magnets in her hands? Because that ball, comes to her, and I said, man, I don't know how she does it. She wasn't doing it in the first game in Redland. That's the first game I didn't see her get a lot of rebounds.
Yes.
But in that game in the championship, she was at the right spot at the right time.
We always joke with her. She steals rebounds from everybody else on the team, even on the free throw line. If there's nobody on the free throw line from the opposing team, the ball goes to the other side. She's going to go in front of her teammate and get it. She's one of the best rebounders I've coached. Like she high points the ball. She goes after it. She's been pretty phenomenal this year. I mean, you've seen the stats. I mean, she had 17 rebounds in the game, 13 rebounds in the game. She's actually, she's played better offensively lately too. Going to the rim, finishing at the rim. She knocked down a three.
Yeah.
Like she's had a really last few good weeks from the offensive end, which has been good for her and building that confidence up.
Yes. Well, we're going to talk about now the tournament. There's 24 teams that's going to be going to Lubbock. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And it starts on the 22nd, and your time will be against McClennan College, and that's at 10 o'clock in the morning on that Thursday, correct? On the
Yes,
23rd.
sir.
All right. What do you know about, of course, McClennan College, which is it's like near Waco or something in that area?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So they're 27-3, I think, on the year. They played Collin College twice. They got beat by Collin twice. We played Collin twice, got beat by Collin. So I have a little bit of familiarity as far as matchups go. I don't know this to be 100% true. Rumor has it that they lost one of their best players to an ACL injury in their last game. So they'll be trying to figure that out. I think they shoot the ball pretty well. She was one of them. They had about 3 kids that shot it 30s to 40% from 3. They like the ball screen. Their posts are more roll to the rim, sprint to the rim type posts, not really back to the basket. Defensively, they're man for the most part. And I think that I think we're gonna have to play well. I don't think we're gonna be overwhelmed by any means going out there, but I think we have a legitimate shot. Sometimes you can get some of these matchups where you'll face a team that's massive and athletic, and they have different resources. They're like a Big 12 team facing a Southland team,
Yes.
where you can hang around for a while, but I don't get that vibe. And I think just with our team going out there for the second time, they'll have a better understanding of what it's like to play, in that environment and whatnot. So I feel good. I hopefully they don't shoot it lights out, and I don't think we're gonna have to. I think we can be man on man. Sometimes you have to double or do things when you get big posts, and that can get you in trouble. So, we got several days to prepare and watch film and maybe put a wrinkle in or two to kind of help us steal a point here or there. And I think that's where we're at, and we'll leave on the 21st, go out there, kind of enjoy that first day.
Yeah, get settled in.
Yeah, get settled in, and
you can watch some other teams play too
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, so we'll get to go in the gym and watch a couple other games, and we're gonna go do something fun and have a good team dinner and have a light practice the day before. So I want to go have a better experience this year. Last year we went out there day before, practice, ate dinner, played. We had the late game, so we stayed the night and then we got up the next day and left. So I want to give the girls a little bit more of an experience this year and enjoy it. So
wow. And by the way, McClennan, they got Collin got an at-large, right?
They both did. Collin and McClennan. Collin lost to New Mexico in the semifinals by 3, and New Mexico ended up winning it. Mm-hmm. So Collin and McClennan got a higher seed than New Mexico, even though New Mexico won that region.
Yeah. And what about Jones College? They got in too, right?
They did too. Yep.
So you played some good.
We played some
You didn't have a watered down schedule, coach.
No, sir. Even Grayson, if you look at the teams that we lost, so Grayson made their regional tournament, and only 4 teams go from their region, and we played 3 of the 4 teams from that region that made it to their tournament. So, and then you throw in Jones, and then obviously Seminole played in the semifinal. No, our 6 losses weren't against cupcakes for sure. We were definitely challenged this year.
Have you got the schedule for next year already too? You already laid it out or you're working on it?
No, that's man, that's a work in progress right now. So
Okay, well,
I'm probably behind.
they'll be calling you and trying to reach out to you, coach, and
Yes.
reaching out to you to
You
be.
know, I've learned this, Cedric. It's funny, having coached, Division 1, Division 2. When you're not very good, everybody wants to play you. You can play. When you
Yeah.
become good, that list of teams gets smaller and smaller, and they don't want to play you anymore. So we'll see what we get on the schedule next year. I'm about halfway done, a little over halfway done with it.
Okay, good. And by the way, your team, you have 3 players from Texas, which is Paige, Laney, and Bree. And then
Yep.
you have 2 internationals from Australia, from Melbourne.
Yes, sir.
And then you have 4, wait a minute, you have 4 Oklahomans from Sulphur, from Silo, from Sallisaw, and from Empire, which is near
Yes,
Duncan.
sir.
So you have a pretty good balance. And for my friends that are watching and listening to this, because it's not that far from Texas, and you want to send your kids to school where they can concentrate, I say, and people around Ardmore have been telling me, man, what is going on at Murray? Because something is happening, not only in basketball, but softball and baseball. You guys got an atmosphere in one of the historic towns in the state of Oklahoma, which is Tishomingo. What is it that these kids are doing to bond to be in there in Oklahoma in a little small town?
I think we have a great group of coaches right now. Matter of fact, I think baseball is up to 5th in the country now. I think our coaches do a wonderful job of recruiting the right student athletes, to Tisch. In our town, listen, there's not a lot to do. We're not hiding from the fact that there's not a lot to do in Tisch, but you have to find kids that are going to fit in a small town. That are going to, just hang out with one another. You got to be self-driven. From an athletic standpoint, you're not going to get a lot of better coaches out there that are going to push you and give you the opportunity to move on to a 4-year school. Academically, our professors are great. I can tell the story. Maddie Busby's, I think it's bio. I'm trying to think what class it was. Might have been an anatomy and phys. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, coach, we have lab on this day, but I know it's the same day as the game day." And so we actually worked together to figure out a different day to have lab until the season was over. And so that's the community that we have. Everybody's supporting one another in our community. Quentin Jones and Kelsey, they do a wonderful job of providing, activities on campus. Dr. Fulton has come in and is really trying to change the culture of campus and just provide more opportunities for things like that. So
I like the baseball field. They call it the ranch.
the ranch.
I love it.
And I just think you're coming there and you're getting your academics taken care of, and you're focusing on your sport.
Yeah.
It's really what you're doing. And I've lived in Portland, Oregon, 2-3 million people. What those kids did there and what our kids do in Tishomingo, truthfully, is not a lot different. These kids, sometimes they think they're going to go shopping and do all this extra stuff, and it's like they don't. Like they're worn out during the year. And our kids will jet down to Sherman, or they'll jet over to one of the adjacent towns and go get some different food and stuff like that. But I think you have to be driven. You have to understand you're coming to winning programs that are going to help you move on, and that ultimately is the goal when you come to a junior college. Can I play for a winner, and do I have an opportunity to move on and go to a 4-year school? And I really think that all of our coaches, and I'm going to tell you, in the next 2 years, you watch, You know, golf is on the way up.
Yes.
Women's soccer is on the way up. Men's basketball is on the way up.
They got rodeo. They got rodeo.
They got rodeo. We got shooting sports. Our academic team finished 4th in the nation this year.
That's nursing program, you know.
Yes, there's just a lot going on and a lot to be proud of, here at Murray and in Tisch and Ardmore. So
I called my alma mater, East Central, yesterday. I said, y'all need to send people down to Tisch and get down to Murray. And I talked yesterday, and they said, Mr. Bailey, we working on that now. So they going to Southeastern. Y'all need to get them to 8 at East Central. I said, I want them to go to OU. I want them to do great. But as we close out, 2 questions. Your coaching staff. We can't wrap out without Tana and Wade and Deborah. What you want to say about them?
Yeah, I am. This is the honest truth. Like, I'm blessed to be at Murray and this is not a knock, but we don't have a ton of money to be giving people for assistant coaching positions, but we fit well together. They all have their own strengths. Like Coach Whaley, all the graphics that you see on social media are all him. He watches tons amounts, of film. He puts together all the scouting reports. He likes the recruiting aspect. Coach Tana she's the mother of the team. She takes care of all the things, the laundry, getting the sack lunches, making sure that they're taking care of their academics. Just, all the girl stuff that they don't want to come to Coach Whaley and I about. And so she kind of fits that mold of kind of the director of operations. And she is an absolutely tireless worker in recruiting too. She loves it. She builds great relationships with those kids. So those 2 are really after it. And then Coach Manley, come on, a 30-year vet of coaching. She's been really good for me this year to just keeping me calm and just telling me it's okay. It's okay. Don't lose your mind on them. We had 10 days off, the first day of the conference tournament, or, hey, they just played down. Like, we're okay. Like, I super, impressed with what she's brought, 30 years, and she's won a ton of games, played in state titles. Like, she helps on the floor stuff. The kids really like her too.
Yeah.
I'm just very blessed to have 3 assistants at junior college that all add massive value, to our program.
Wow. Well, we're about to wrap this up, but you saw the video I shared, and when I saw the and Remy, they look like your daughters. Like, after y'all won that championship on the floor there, what did you think when you saw that and they were spinning around and hugging each other? Because Hayden took in Remy like she was her sister.
Yes.
How did it make you feel?
Just to see the joy of knowing, like, oh my gosh, this grind was worth it. We start in August. They get on campus and we're lifting weights and we're in the gym in August. And to see the fruits of your labor happen, in March to win a championship, it brings joy to my heart and, tears to my eyes just to see the pure enjoyment and excitement that, dang, we did it. You can never take that away. Like, you're going to be a champion forever.
Yeah.
And you're going to remember this forever.
You tell Bella, I'm waiting to see her because she photobombed a picture.
Did she?
You remember that picture we took with all of us? And she
got. Oh, yes.
So you tell, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get her back.
I'm going to get her back. That's
Bella
good.
is something else. But then my final question for your coach, and this is for your sophomores. When you come back and it's all said and done, whatever happens, and we're praying to go all the way, but what are you going to remember the most about this team, these sophomores? What's going to be that?
Oh, man. I told them the other day I loved them, and it's true. Like, just what they brought, they're just good kids. They bust us. They give us a hard time too. I just think the overall competitive drive to want to be the best every day is something that I'll remember for a long time. I mean, to do what they've done, those stats I rattled off earlier, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And then and overall, just good people. I'll miss seeing their faces and them busting on us and us busting on them, and the relationships. That's what I'll probably miss the most. I mean, yes, the wins and the loss, wins and the championships are great. Don't get me wrong. But just being around good people is really what I enjoy the most about coaching, and that's what I'll miss.
All right. We've been talking to the head coach of the Murray State Aggies, Coach Steve Lowe, and they're heading out to Lubbock, Texas. They'll be heading out on the 21st, and they play on Thursday, the 23rd of March, and they will play McClennan College. It's going to be a tough matchup, but hey, to the Aggie fans that are going to be in there, and most of all, we're praying for safe travels, praying for healthy players, that they will have fun. And it's been an honor, and I'm just looking forward to it. Coach, thank you so much for being here with me. I just love keeping records and watching this. And I want to say thank you to the parents too, as well. I got a chance to meet Bree's family from Era, Texas, and her grandfather and my dad, he was a sheriff down in Cook County. They know each other real well. So
that's crazy.
it's incredible stories. Found out that Bree's mom played softball. She played with my best friend, Barry Boker. They played softball. So, you meet some nice people.
Yes.
And I almost wore my cowboy hat out there one day, but I said, no, I just want to just say hello. And last but not least, your dad too. I can't forget about him. I got my hat too. So I got my veterans hat I'm gonna be wearing when I see him too. As well. Your dad is cool. So
yes. Well, thanks, Cedric, for you just brought a different experience this year to our program and the men's program, that it just adds value. It adds just the overall experience versus just watching a plain video go back and forth. So I know the parents really appreciated that. And
yeah, when the game went on, they was blowing up my phone. Said, what's going on? I had to go get I had to stop away and go get him. I said, man, they calling me. We got to get on there right now.
Yeah. And I just think, you just added so much more value to our program, and we're trying to make Murray, a first class thing and everything we do. And we're trying to set the standards for upping, the overall experience. And you definitely, brought that to our programs this year. So thank you very much.
No problem. And I said, man, I should have went to school here the first 2 years, but that's all right. So we're going to close out with what do we always say, Coach, at the end when we put our finger up and we say, go Aggies. So you do it, Coach.
Go Aggies.